Okay, welcome everybody. So we're going to kick off today talking about some comebacks. I know Christmas can just be one of those times and you meet up with people and they might ask, oh, what's going on with you? Like, are you thinking of having kids? What's going on? And it can just be so awkward. So last year I wrote an article for IVF Babble on creative comebacks for if somebody asks you. Without you having to obviously divulge, and it's just having something to say. And I found this really helped, that instead of feeling like really nervous about meeting up with people, obviously this year I imagine a lot of things are going to be on Zoom, people asking those questions, you've got like a set line that you and your partner can say to whoever asks, so you're also both on board with the same line. Because I found sometimes with Luke, he'd be like, he might say something slightly different to me, and then people are like, oh, and Luke said this, and we'll be trying to like work stuff out. So the best thing if someone asks you is to just ask the question back. And so if they ask, oh, are you going to have children? You can ask like, oh, are you having any more children or any children? And just asking that direct question back, for some people, just makes them realize like how personal that is and how important it is to ask that question. But it also could be quite funny if it's someone who blatantly isn't going to be having any more children because they're like, in their 70s and it's just not going to happen. Another one is to say to people, oh, when do you think we should have children? Because that can kind of throw people as well. And then they're kind of like, oh, and some people will actually give you an answer to that. But it just like throws them off the scent. You could say, why should we? Which is quite a good one, because that gets people to kind of go, oh, yeah, okay, and step back. Or even, why do you ask? Because a lot of the time people are just saying it as chit chat. They just want, a bit of conversation. And so you don't need to feel like you need to divulge anything. You can just have a comeback. You can throw them off the scent by saying, well, not this week, but do you want another mince pie? Or you could be more personal and say, and actually say, like, 1 in 6 couples experience infertility. Like, it's not as easy as just wanting a baby. And this is the point that I got to, that I hadn't told many people were trying, but in the end I was just like, you know what? I'm really sick of people asking me this. And then you can just go for the full truth and go, well, actually, we've spent thousands on treatment and it hasn't happened yet. And any advice? So that can just be a bit of a start point to get going. So yes, thank you all for joining me today. So I'm going to teach some simple mindfulness and acupressure techniques today. And then we're going to do a lovely deep relaxation together, just to allow you to really calm into this moment. December's kicking off in a few days. It feels like so many people are already in the full swing of Christmas, and half my street has it lights up already. I think everyone just needs a bit of a pick-me-up and needs a bit of cheer at this time of year. So if you guys could let me know in the comments how you're feeling about Christmas coming up. It'd be good to know. And if everyone makes sure that your comments so can you guys see on my screen, I've now put the chat up. Can you see the chat box, or can you just see me? If you could let me know in the chat, that would be fab. Hopefully it's just me. Okay. Fantastic. Okay, so how are people feeling about Christmas coming? Or is everyone feeling a bit shy? It's fine if people don't want to chat. I'll just push on. But it's nice to get a kind of feeling of where people are, because obviously I went through this myself. We're trying for almost 4 years, and each Christmas it just felt like the pressure of another year going past. And every year it'd be like, by Christmas next year we'll have a baby. And it sort of would always start off at the beginning of the year of like, by next Christmas, we will be parents. And then as the year progressed, it would be like, oh, okay, well, we'll be pregnant. And then as it closer and closer, it's like, oh, even if we could just test positive, like just for Christmas, that would make it so much easier. And then as it didn't happen, and it became this thing that when you would just cancel Christmas, it was like, it's too hard. It just cannot do it. And we just cancelled Christmas and we went abroad. It's the most bizarre Christmas ever. We were staying somewhere in Mallorca, and we'd like deliberately picked somewhere that was like, this place is not family friendly. And it was just full of like retired people who were like, a luminous orange from being in the sun too much and driving around on like little scooters with Christmas hats. And it was just bizarre, but it's what we needed. We just needed to just do something different rather than the big family Christmas. And obviously this year, everything is all over the shop. We don't know if we're going to get to spend Christmas with our loved ones. And so, even more so, we need to be really upping. And that phrase self care, that's what it is really self care, self nurturing, self nourishing. And we can think that is, it's generally like this add on that we just sort of do when we think about it, or when we start feeling really anxious, or when we start feeling really overwhelmed by stuff. But actually, it's so important to have these daily habits that keep us on this level. So instead of it being like, we're sort of trundling along at like, mid-level anxiety, like all the time, and then something like Christmas happens and we ramp up into the stress already, there's no kind of buoyancy because we're already at this level. Whereas by having acupressure techniques, mindfulness techniques that I'm going to teach you today that you're using every day, you're keeping yourself on that level. So then something stressful happens, and instead of being like, wah, like hyping straight into it, you're like, can be a spike, but you're bringing yourself down. Okay, so we've got comments. So I find Christmas and other events triggering. Yes, definitely can be such a trigger at this time of year. Okay, so techniques you can do in the moment to just calm your body. So to start with, let's all just check in with how we're feeling right now. So just sit up straight, put your spine straight, just close your eyes for a moment. It feels okay to do so. And just tune in with your body. And just scan through, starting at the top of your head, down your forehead, around your eyes, bridge of your nose, cheeks, your jaw, your neck, shoulders, chest, arms, belly, thighs, knees, shins, and down into your feet. And just ask, how much tension am I holding in my body right now? And just search through your body for any tension. So I'm feeling quite tense in my shoulders and the back of my neck. And just sort of move into that area where you're feeling tension. And then just take a really deep breath in and open your eyes. And just give yourself a score of how you're feeling. And with 10 being feeling really, really tense, really stressed out, and 0 being that you're feeling completely relaxed and ease. And just drop a number into the comments so I know how you're feeling right now. And maybe just note that down for yourself as well. So if you've got pen and paper handy, just note down how you're feeling right now. And then I'd like you to, all right, so got some scores going in, 6. It just ask yourself, and this is a question that I ask to my clients, how much of your time on a day-to-day basis do you spend thinking about trying to conceive, and fertility. And just think about it. Over the past 2 weeks, how much time have you spent thinking about fertility? And then how much of that time has that been a positive experience? So thinking about having a baby being a positive experience in that moment of thinking about it. And I imagine for the majority of my clients, when I ask this question, they say, oh, I've spent like a lot of time thinking, like maybe 40, 50, 60% of my time thinking about trying to conceive, thinking about fertility. And I want to ask, how much of that time do you spend? Is it a nice experience? Is it a good experience thinking about it? And they're like, well, no, the majority of the time makes me feel really stressed, makes me feel really overwhelmed. And can you see, if we're thinking about something a huge amount of the time, but it's a negative experience, it's making our body feel negative, that is, we're experiencing emotions that we would label as negative, that is where we are creating chronic anxiety. That is where we're adding these emotions in that can then lead to depression, can lead to overwhelm, can lead to panic attacks, because we're spending a huge amount of our time and energy focusing on something and thinking about it in it's not so much thinking about it in a negative way. It's like we can't help the thoughts that we're thinking, but those thoughts are then creating a negative emotion in our body. So I've got some ones. Christmas makes me feel so sad that I don't have children to have that magical time with. I'm fine or wishing it was different. Yeah, totally agree. I think at this time, especially when people are saying like, oh, it's all about the children. It's, Christmas is all about the kids. And it just feels then, if you want to be a mum and you really want to be having that Christmas, and then you don't have it, it's like every advert, every song, everything you hear can just ramp it up. So the visualization we're going to do today is going to help to give you something else to focus on. So when those triggers come up, instead of just seeing the lack of what you don't have, seeing, the opposite, see what you want, and then because you don't have it, feeling that negative feeling. The visualization is going to help to switch that. So it's seeing what you want and saying yes, please, and helping to welcome that in, rather than at the moment having it as a trigger that your body then goes into stress response, when it's then basically saying like no, because seeing that feels very stressful. But before that, let's do some little acupressure techniques. So the first one, what I'd like you to do is just take your hands and place around just above your elbows, either side, and then just rest your hands. And what I want you to do is just tap, just quite slowly, just one side to the other. And this is known as the butterfly tap. And what this does is it just calms the nervous system. What we're doing is tapping on acupressure points that are on the side of our arms. Also, by crossing our arms like this and tapping on the opposite arm, it affects our brain and is doing a crossover in our mind. So just do this while you're listening and just keep doing it for the next few moments. And as you do, just allow your breathing to become slightly deeper. Just breathing in through your nose and then out through your mouth with an audible sigh. And just bringing yourself to the present moment. Because even if the present moment doesn't look like how we want it to look, how we thought it should look, actually in the present moment, we're safe, we're here, and our body doesn't need to be in stress. When we're going through infertility, the biggest lesson that I learned was the fact that even though infertility can be very stressful, women experiencing infertility treatment experience the same level of stress, anxiety, and depression as women who have a cancer, an AIDS, or heart disease diagnosis. Infertility in itself is incredibly stressful. And the question I started asking myself was, okay, so I know that having infertility is causing me stress, but is stress causing the infertility? And it becomes this like loop. So you can keep tapping if that feels good, or just rest your arm. Can become this loop, and people kept saying to me, like, well, just relax, just don't think about it. It's like, just let it happen. And I was like, that's all very well, but like, how? How do I just relax where I have this overwhelming fear that I will never be a mum? This overwhelming fear that the things that I want to do in my life with my children might never happen. And it was this ongoing what if fear that was just ramping up, ramping up, ramping up. And I didn't want to be stressed. I didn't want to stress about it. I wanted to be able to relax. I wanted to be able to stay positive, but I didn't know how. And this is where these mind-body techniques come in, because you start off by learning that you are not your thoughts. So in the Embrace Fertility Method, my 12-week course, that is the first step, is just realizing that you are not your thinking. When you have a thought, you don't need to run with it. You don't need to believe it. So that what if, because when our minds don't know the difference between reality and imagination. So when we imagine our future without having children, our body goes into stress response because it is saying to us, the thought you are having is not what you want. So when you think about having kids, you immediately think about not being able to have them. And this huge rush of fear and adrenaline and stress comes in because your body is going, we don't want that, we don't want that, we don't want that. And so your body goes into stress response, which actually, when you talk about it like that, is completely pointless. It doesn't help us at all to have a massive flag up response. Whenever we see something we want, if we then feel stressed about wanting it, is then can become this kind of double-edged sword that then you end up trying to force yourself not to think about the thing you really want because it's triggering so much stress. And you want to be able to think about your future, think about the things that you want in a way that feels good to you, that allows you to imagine what it will be like when it gets there, for various reasons. Mainly because it feels awful feeling stressed about infertility. The next one is we make decisions based on how we feel in the moment. So if we're feeling stressed and we're feeling fearful, that clouds our judgment, that clouds our decision making. So if we're feeling stressed out, we may rush into things that we're not ready for. We make rash decisions. We may use coping techniques that really don't help us, like drinking, drugs, eating unhealthily, not sleeping enough, suffering from insomnia, all these things that then can have a negative knock-on impact to our fertility. Excuse me. So there's that element, and then there's the energetic element, that our subconscious mind is primitive. And if our subconscious mind thinks that something is dangerous, it will keep us away from it. It will do its level best to protect us from that thing that is dangerous. And so if we're seeing, like, say, a mother walk past with a pram in the park, if we're then having a massive stress response in that moment, our subconscious mind doesn't go, oh, it's okay. I know that the reason why you're really stressed is because you really, really want that, but it hasn't happened yet, and you're really scared that it's never going to happen. And that's why you feel stressed. It doesn't see the journey. It doesn't do the logical thinking. What it sees is, you see a mum with a baby, and it feels this massive rush of stress and fear, and it goes, whoa, okay, that's a really scary thing. Better not do that then. And so it's having the opposite effect of what we want, that we get ourselves so stressed out that we're turning away from what we want. And it is completely possible to get pregnant while you are feeling very anxious. It is completely possible to get pregnant when you're very depressed. People do it all of the time. However, the studies show that women who have depressive symptoms find it more difficult to conceive. They found that if women have a failed treatment cycle and then feel depressed afterwards before going into the next cycle, they're less likely to have success in that cycle. The studies show that the raised levels of cortisol in our body, our stress hormones, impact the quality of eggs and sperm. All of these things. So even if you were doing these things purely just to feel better in the moment, they're also going to be helping your fertility and building up. So I'm going to teach you some of the techniques from the Embrace Fertility Method, which is my 12-week course, which guides you from feeling overwhelmed and anxious about your fertility to feeling okay, basically feeling hopeful, allowing hope back into your life. Because there does seem to be this link between this shift of women feeling, it's like everything else is still the same. So your life on the outside looks exactly the same. You're still not pregnant, you still don't have a baby, but just something has shifted inside, something where you're just like, I'm okay. I'm gonna be okay. I am okay. It's about now. In the moment, I am okay, even though I'm not a mum yet. I'm okay. And that experiencing that shift, what's happening on a physical level is infertility is no longer a massive trigger for stress. Infertility is just what's happening at the minute. It's just infertility. Still sucks, still shit, but just infertility is not this massive, massive trigger. So, some little techniques. So we have the butterfly tapping, and you can be doing this. Let's just do that again while we're chatting. You can be doing this whenever you're on a Zoom call. You can just put your screen like this. You can be doing it. No one can tell. You can be doing it while you're waiting for the kettles to boil. You can be doing it while you're watching Strictly Come Dancing. Just calming, soothing. So a lot of the work, my 5-step process, the fertile thoughts activation process, starts off with comfort. It's about bringing your body into safety, into comfort. And then it's about learning coping strategies. Then it's connecting deeply with your body, with yourself, with your thoughts, with your future baby, with your partner. Then it's about clearing any blocks, any things that may be stopping you from getting or staying pregnant, any blocks that are stopping you from maybe having investigations that you might want to have, from going into treatment that you might want to have, from having conversations with your partner, anything that is blocking you from what you want to be doing. We clear that and then move into the creating stage where we are calling in what you want, not just in regards to a baby, but all areas of your life. But it starts with comfort. It starts with getting your body out of that trigger response that's happening again and again and again. So, yes, we have the tapping here. Then the fear point for EFT is on the back of your hand, and just go between your ring finger and your little finger to this valley and just rubbing on that point there. And I want you to just keep rubbing on here and just close your eyes. And just repeat after me, either out loud or in your head, even though Christmas can be such a hard time, I love and accept myself anyway. Even though I'm worried about it being triggering. I love and accept myself for feeling this way. Even though I've got so much going on right now. I'm choosing to nurture and nourish myself. And just open your eyes. So that's just a tiny bit of emotional freedom technique. Emotional freedom technique is a whole technique where you tap on different acupressure points going around the body while using language, while saying exactly how you feel and allowing it to come up, allowing yourself to really feel it and release it. So I'm going to be doing a training video on EFT next week. If anyone would like one before that, then I can send you out. Actually, it's on my website. If you go into the inspiration section, there is a blog with a video which teaches EFT. And then I'm going to be doing like a live class teaching someone how to do it. And then the week after, I have a guest interview where I'm going to be talking to Sarah Holland, talking all about tapping and just taking it to a whole deeper level. So I'm not really going to go into it that much today. But just to say, this technique is a beautiful one. Do check it out on the website. It's a great technique for allowing you to really get in touch with how you're feeling in the moment. And the reason why my company is called Embrace Fertility is because it's allowing you to embrace all emotions rather than pushing them away. EFT allows us to feel them and then clear them and release. But just doing this technique, you can just tune in, just close your eyes, tune in with how you're feeling, and just saying it out loud. Sometimes it can kind of ramp up and feel like, oh, it's coming more, but it's in there already. You're not making it worse. You're just shining a light on it. And by allowing yourself to feel it, you can let it come up. Another technique is just rubbing your hands together. And just place one hand on your forehead with your thumb on your hairline. Just cupping your forehead, and then your other hand, thumb again on your hairline, up into your hair, and just cradling the back of your head. And just sit like this for a few moments. Just close your eyes. And what this does is it just brings the blood back to our forebrain. When we're feeling stressed, the blood is pumped away from the front of our forebrain to our limbic brain. And this is why we forget things when we're stressful. This is why we can feel overwhelmed, because we literally go stupid when we feel stressed. Because our body wants to run or it wants to fight. It doesn't want to be, working out what it's going to do. So it stops pumping blood to our logic brain and just takes to our primitive brain. And this position just helps calm and soothe. So just notice the heat of your hand on your forehead. Whenever you're ready, just place your arms down. How did it feel to try each of those techniques? Just let me know in the comments. That would be fab. And if you're listening to this on replay, then please do just note down to yourself how you're feeling, because by writing stuff down, it helps our brain process things in a different way, and it also helps us learn. So by sort of committing something to paper, committing something to the screen, you're sort of taking on another level. Okay. So we're going to go into the guided fertility visualization. So if you'd like to just have a drink before we go into it, and then get yourself really comfy. So you can lie down if you like, you can sit up, but just make sure you're kind of propped up. So you might like to have a little cushion in the small of your back. You might like to have cushion under your knees, under your head. So I'll just give you a few moments just to get really, really comfy. And if you've got a blanket, like snuggle up, cover yourself up, like bring the blanket, I've got my snuggly one here, like bring the blanket like right up and properly like tuck yourself in, like get really, really snuggly. And again, this is about allowing your body to feel very safe, feel very nourished and connected. Because when we're trying to become a mother, we kind of forget that ultimately what we want is to be a mother, is to become a mum. And so nurturing and nourishing and mothering ourselves as much as possible in advance is so, so beneficial. Okay, so if everyone is nice and cozy, just close your eyes and just start taking deeper breaths. So really breathing in through your nose. And then an audible release. So in through your nose. And then just feel the weight of your body on the sofa or the bed or the floor, wherever you're sitting or lying right now. And just allow yourself to be supported. Allow yourself to be held by the bed, the sofa, held by the earth. And with each out breath, just imagine melting down into the earth, being really supported. And then just take both hands and just rub your palms together. Just quite slowly and going all the way to your wrist. So rubbing your hand all the way down and then very slightly down your wrist as well. So all the way down to your wrist. And give quite firm pressure. So you're really warming up your hand. You can really feel the resistance. 2 more times. And then just place your hands with the balls of your hands, palms of your hand over your eye socket. And not pressing on your eyebrow, but holding your forehead. So you're cupping your forehead with your hands, got your eyes closed. And just breathe here for a moment. And just feel what it feels like just to hold your head in this way. And like I said, in our forehead are these acupressure points that help calm and soothe us. This is why in yoga we have the child pose where your head is on the floor. This is why many cultures place their head down to pray. And then keeping your eyes closed, just begin to massage your forehead. So starting at your hairline, just massaging along your hairline, massaging your forehead, in between your eyes, all the way along your eyebrows, to your temples, and just rubbing at your temples as firmly as feels comfortable for you. And along your cheekbones, right up onto the bridge of your nose. And again, using as much pressure as feels right for you. Sides of your nose, all of your cheeks, out to your ears. And then I want you just to squeeze your ears. So just between your index finger and your thumb, just pinch your ears all the way around. Again, there are acupressure points all the way around our ears. By stimulating them, allowing ourselves to calm, just pulling on your earlobes, and then massaging your jaw, so right in there, all the way up, all the way down your jaw, your chin, back up your jaw, down the back of your neck. Really dig your fingers in if that feels good, just dig them in. And just rubbing the tops of your shoulders. And then I want you to like hang off of your shoulders. So your fingers are on your back, your palm is over your shoulders, and your thumbs are like at the front of your body. And as you breathe out, just pull down onto your shoulders. And just imagine again pulling yourself down to the earth, grounding into this moment. And breathing in. And as you breathe out, just dragging your hands down and then placing your hands down and just putting your arms where it feels comfortable. Just keeping your eyes closed if that feels comfy. And just bringing yourself to the here and now, a little mindful moment. And if your mind wanders, each time just bring it back to now and pick a focus. That could be the warmth of the blanket over your body. That could be the feel of your breath going into your nose and out your mouth. Could be the feel of your heart beating in your chest. Just pick one of those anchors or another. And this is your focus point to come back to time and time again. With mindfulness, when we first start practicing, we can feel that we need to completely quiet our mind. We need to stop thinking. But this is not the case. With mindfulness, we are just choosing to bring ourselves back to the present moment. Time and time again. It's mindfulness practice, not mindfulness perfect. And by giving our bodies this time to rest, relax, release, we're resetting our nervous system, allowing our hormones to balance, and just improving our own well-being, both physical and emotional. And I'm going to take you on a guided visualization using hypnotic language. This is perfectly safe for everybody to listen to. But if you have any concerns, please be aware that you need to take responsibility for your own well-being. Listening. If you have any concerns, then just speak to your healthcare provider before continuing. And this is safe to listen to while you're trying to conceive, while you might be pregnant. And just breathing into this moment. And just tune in with how your body feels right now. And what could you say to your body? If you could just give a little love message to your body right now, what would you say to her? I remember being so unkind to my body when I was trying to conceive, really feeling that she was letting me down. And learning to love and trust my body again was such a powerful, powerful journey. So just talk to your body now, either out loud or in your mind. What would you say to her? You might say, thank you. Thank you for being my home here on planet Earth. Thank you for being where I reside. Thank you for being strong. Thank you for doing all you do for me. Being able to walk, being able to talk, being able to listen, being able to speak. Thank you. And then come specifically to your womb area. How do you feel about your womb? And just get an idea or an image or a feeling about what it's like inside your womb right now. Does it feel like a warm and inviting place? Does it feel like the perfect home to house a baby for the next 9 months? Or does it feel like a separate part of you, a part that needs to be fixed, monitored, controlled? And whatever feeling or sense you get, just allow that to soften and then reinstall a new feeling, a new belief. So maybe changing the color of that area, maybe to a soft healing pink or a deep nourishing red. And focusing on that color in your womb area. And now just imagine circling your womb, sending it love, sending it gratitude. And if you have any medical complications in this area, just sending it even more love, even more compassion. And just placing both hands on your womb, whatever way feels comfortable for you. And allow the warmth from your hands to infuse into your belly. Maybe even saying, I love you. And if that feels too hard right now, that's okay. Just maybe set the intention that in the future you'll be able to feel that, able to say that. Because for so many of us, we have such a dysfunctional relationship with our body right from when we start our periods. And learning to really celebrate our cycles, celebrate our periods. Because a period is a sign that we're fertile. So often we see a period as a sign that we're not fertile, that pregnancy hasn't happened in this month. But reframing a period as being a sign of your fertility. Because if you're not having periods, it means you're not ovulating. And so if you are having periods, that means you are ovulating. And therefore, that can be celebrated. And I want you now to imagine what you could do, what you could change in your womb area to make that area super welcoming for your future baby, or maybe the baby that's already residing inside you if you're in your 2-week wait. Just imagining what you could do to make this area beautiful, to make it nourishing, nurturing. For some of my clients, I like to add fairy lights, candles. They like to imagine plumping up their womb lining, to make it soft and velvety, welcoming, comforting. So just imagine how you could change that area. And what you could do to change that area to make you feel more gratitude and love for this area. And then just placing your left hand on your heart, leaving your right hand on your belly. And I want you to imagine taking love from your heart and sending it down to your womb. So maybe as you breathe, maybe breathing in is collecting that love from your heart. And as you breathe out, sending that into your womb. Connecting your heart, connecting your womb. Connecting your creativity, your love. Just tune in to feelings of love. Maybe thinking about someone or something that you adore. Maybe that's your partner, family member, a pet, a friend. Someone who just makes your heart sing. Just think about them for a minute. And just tuning in to how it feels to think about them, how it feels to tune into love. And sending that love down into your womb, down into your belly. Because love is such a powerful emotion. And then just place your arms wherever feels the most comfortable. So maybe over your belly, maybe both on your heart, or maybe resting by your sides, whatever feels comfortable. And taking a few really deep breaths in through your nose, out through your mouth. In through your nose, out through your mouth. And I want you now to imagine connecting with your future child. And whatever spiritual beliefs you have, just go with what feels right for you. But maybe this is just a powerful metaphor. Or maybe if you're spiritual, this is connecting with the spirit of your baby. Whatever feels right for you, just playing with stories, playing with words, playing with feelings. So just imagine sending out that invitation to the universe. We're waiting for you. We love you. We're ready. I'm ready. You can come now. Come when you're ready. I am ready. We are ready. Come when you are ready. And what does it feel like to send out that invitation? And just imagine your future child receiving that message and feeling the love and the warmth and the desire for them to be part of your life. Imagine what it would feel like to receive an invitation like that. One that's so open, one that is asking for you to come. And just tell your child how much they will be loved, how much they are wanted. Either saying that out loud or in your mind now. And now just tune in to how you feel about this invitation. If it feels like a demand, if it feels like a you must come now, just tune into that feeling and allow each breath to dissolve it. To keep this as an invitation rather than a demand. Knowing that time is irrelevant. We're so hooked up on time as humans, so hooked up on our cycle, and 12 cycles in a year or less, of having, the clock ticking above our heads. But time is irrelevant. If we could remove time from the equation and just know that the decision to become a mum has already been made. You've already decided. It's now just a matter of how and when. If you could release the demanding and just be open and receptive to when and how it's meant to happen. Do you feel the difference in that energy? The difference in the vibration between demanding and setting a time limit, and to being open and receptive to whenever it's meant to happen. Because if you knew for sure, if someone could tell you, by March, for example, you will be pregnant. If you could know that without a shadow of a doubt that you will be pregnant by March, how would that feel? And if that particular month doesn't work for some reason, just pick a date. If someone could just say to you, you will definitely experience this by that point, how would that feel? And imagine you may have fear coming up with that, the what ifs. And what if you could just dismiss the what ifs? What if you could just put them to one side just for a moment and just sit with, what if it was all going to be okay? What if this is possible for me? And just sit with that for a moment. And just watch your breathing. If your mind wanders, bring yourself back to the present moment, time and time again. And sending out that invitation again. I am ready. We are ready. Come when you are ready. I am ready. We are ready. Come when you are ready. And now just imagine going out into your future 2 years from today. 2 years from today, knowing that Christmas is about to begin. The run up to Christmas, rather, December is about to begin. And you're planning your family Christmas with your child, with your children. What does that feel like? And if you get any what ifs, any fear or anxiety, instead of turning away from it, turn towards what you want. Say no thank you to the anxiety, the what ifs, and turn towards the yes please. What if this could work? What if this is it? Two years from today, just imagine what it feels like, what you'd be doing, who you'd be with. What does your home look like? What does your home smell like? What does it sound like? What does it feel like to be in your home with your family? And then just fast forwarding right into December, maybe to Christmas Eve, 2 years time. What will you be doing? And just allow yourselves to really feel it. And then just slowly coming back to the present moment. And what I want you to do is every time from now that you see something that in the past used to be a trigger for sadness or negative thinking, of what if thinking, I want you to notice how you have the power to switch it. You have the power to say, no, thank you. I don't want to feel like that. I don't want to think this way. And switch it to yes, please. That is what I want. I am ready. We are ready. Come when you are ready. Imagine every time you see a child, it's like the universe saying, is this what you want? Every time you see a mother, the universe saying, is this what you want? And you saying yes. Yes with your mind and yes with your body. Choosing to turn that thinking around, to stop it in its tracks. Using these techniques, stopping that repetitive negative thinking and choosing a better feeling thought. Time and time and time again. Because over time, it then becomes a habit. It becomes habit that instead of there being these anxieties, there being these triggers, you feel different. You experience that shift. And that is when the magic happens. So taking a really deep breath in now, placing both hands on your heart. And one last time. I am ready. We are ready. Come when you are ready. And just starting to wiggle your fingers and toes. Shifting your body, taking another really deep breath in and out and opening your eyes. And just let me know in the comments how you're feeling as you just come back into the room. I'm going to send out the recording of that visualization so you can come back to it. And you may find that it's easier to come back to. If anyone listening found that triggering, that is fine and that is normal. Sometimes it's just too much for us to dive straight into this type of work, which is why it is the 5th step of the Embrace Fertility method. So we have comfort, coping, connection, clearing, and then creating. This is a creating technique where we are creating positive emotions, creating intentions and setting our intentions and calling in what we desire. So this is generally the 5th step in the process. How is everybody feeling? I am feeling rather floaty. Oh, nice and relaxed. Fantastic. And every time we're doing this, we're helping our body in such a positive way. And it doesn't need to be imagining our future in order to feel like this. It's choosing to tune into relaxation. It is choosing to think about things that allow us to feel good. So just placing our hands on our heart and thinking about someone we love, boosting up that gratitude, allowing it to expand is so, so powerful. So if you're on my mailing list, you will know that the doors to the Embrace Fertility Method 12-week course are open at the moment for the next week. If you're interested in finding out more, then just go to my website, embracefertility.co.uk/embrace. So all the information there on what the course is, the 5-step process. I outline what we do each week, the different techniques that we use, how I guide you through this process. You can join for the first 3 weeks, and then if it's really not for you, I offer a 21-day money-back guarantee. I've decided to open the doors again now, just before Christmas, because I know this time of year can be so difficult. So I wanted to make it open to everyone so you could just come and join for the next 3 weeks, see if the techniques are helping you, if it feels good, if you like the way that I teach, if you like the techniques that I'm sharing. Then after 3 weeks, decide if you want to stay and do the full 3 months. So yes, go and check that out if that sounds good. I also offer one-to-one coaching, and again, I work in 90-day cycle, because I found that not only does this really allow you to feel held, be heard, and build up that hope of creating the life that you desire. It means that we're really supporting you during that time. It also takes 3 months to be influencing your body, and that's how long it takes for eggs and sperm to be produced. So it's quite nice to have those 3 cycles as we're going through this work and practicing that daily self-care, practicing these techniques. And sometimes that can just be a 3-minute technique. So I say with the course, you need to be able to commit at least 1 hour a week and 3 minutes a day. And then the more you put into it, you can spend as much or as little time as you like. So some people like to practice the longer hypnosis recordings every day. So that's 20 to 25 minutes. You might like to do the journaling each day, but you get to pick. It's a minimum of an hour a day. I also have a selection of MP3s on my store, and I'm going to be running a discount on those next week, actually, as we get into December. So do check out those. I will put everything in an email and send out. But yes, if you're interested in the Embrace Fertility method, you can jump on a 30-minute free chat with me to ask any questions and to see whether it would be right for you. Does anyone have any questions or any comments before we wrap up for the night? Thank you all very much for joining me live. I know there's so many other things you could be doing on your Sunday evening, so I really appreciate it. It does feel quite different doing this live, and there's something so lovely about coming together and doing these things. So I hope that was helpful, and I will see you all. If any of you are not yet following me on social media, then please do. If you're on social media, so on Instagram and Facebook, hang out on Instagram a lot. I really love it. If I use Instagram, I really recommend setting up your field and following hashtags that make you feel uplifted, make you feel really good. You can choose who you follow. You can choose what you see. You can choose just to go into accounts that make you feel good and just look at that content. So if you're not already following me, do come and share. I'm going to be sharing more tips in the run up to Christmas, and I've got lots of IGTV videos in there that you can check out, and fun little stories and things that I do just with little tips and tricks over the coming weeks. Thank you, everyone. Oh, thank you for your comments. I really enjoyed that, ladies. I really hope you did too. If anyone did find that triggering and just want to stay on at the end of the call after I finish recording and chat to me about it, then please do. I will switch off the recording now, and unless you want to stay and have a chat, then I will see you all soon.